Operant conditioning. Operant conditioning is a method of learning that occurs through rewards and punishments for behavior. It is based on the idea that we can increase or decrease a certain behavior by adding a consequence. Through operant conditioning, an individual makes an association between a particular behavior and consequence. This was proposed by Boris Frederick Skinner, also known as P.F. Skinner, an American psychologist, behaviorist, author, inventor, and social philosopher. A professor of psychology at Harvard University from 1958 until his retirement in 1974. Skinner saw human action as dependent on consequences of previous actions, as a theory he articulated as the principle of reinforcement. If the consequences to an action are bad, there is a high chance that the action will not be repeated. If the consequences are good, the probability of action being repeated becomes stronger. Example: a mother taking away her daughter's cell phone to avoid distraction and making her assignments. Example number 2. A child completing her homework to earn a reward from her teacher. B.F. Skinner used operant conditioning to strengthen behavior, considering the rate of response strengths. To study, he invented the operant conditioning chamber, or the Skinner box. Skinner box is a laboratory apparatus used to study animal behavior in a compressed time frame, where an animal can be rewarded or punished for engaging in certain behaviors, such as lever pressing. Inside the box was a lever that would release food when pressed. Conditioning happened in a three-term contingency, today known as the ABCs of behavior. A stands for antecedent. The rat accidentally hits the lever that triggers the release of food. B stands for behavior and refers to the response, in which the rat keeps pressing the lever. C stands for consequence, where food keeps coming out. The strength of the response to the conditioning depends on the schedule of the reinforcement. If there is always food after pressing, the rat behaves predictably. If the food is released randomly, the rat behaves erratically. Skinner identified three types of responses or operant that follows behavior. First is the neutral operant. Responses from the environment that neither increase nor decrease the probability of a behavior being repeated. Second, reinforcers. Responses from the environment that decrease the probability of a behavior being repeated. Reinforcers can either be positive or negative. Example: a boy was convinced by a friend to go to parties and enjoy to have many friends, but as a result, it affects his good relationship with his parents. Third is the punishers. Responses from the environment that decrease the likelihood of a behavior being repeated. Example: a boy refuses to eat her favorite food after being spanked by his mother. So punishment weakens behavior.
Types of operant conditioning: positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, punishment, extension. So positive reinforcement, it is receiving a reward for acting in a certain way. Example for this is a mother will give her child a money if her child will able to do or to get higher score in exams. So in return, her child will do her or his best to achieve that goal of his mother in hope to receive a reward from his mother. So when can we say if positive reinforcement most effective? When? So when it occurs immediately or directly after the behavior, when it is presented greatly and frequently. So there is types of positive reinforcement. First is natural reinforcers, are those that occur directly as a result of the behavior. Example for this is a child do her best in school, completing his homework. In return, he will be excellent in grades of his school rather. So next is token reinforcers, are points or tokens that are awarded for performing certain actions. These tokens can then be exchanged for something of value. These token reinforcers are very common, especially right now we are facing pandemic, and the educational system, especially the elementary, was through modules because we are not allowed to do traditional classes. So the modules will be delivered to the houses of the students. Then there are some circumstances that the student will not answer his or her own modules because he or she was busy in playing. So a mother will going to say, Nak, you need to answer your modules because if you're going to answer this, I will give you money. So as a child will going to answer her or his modules because he or she will get benefits like money. Next is social reinforcers. It is involved expressing approval of a behavior such as teacher, parent, or employer saying or writing good job or excellent work. Example for this is in the office work. There is an employer submitting his paperwork in his head, and then his head said that you did a great job because your paperwork was excellent because it is subutable and easy to understand. So that thing is example for social enforcers because it involved expressing approval of behavior. Tangible reinforcers involve the presentation of an actual physical reward such as candy, treats, toys, money, and other designed objects. Example for this is a mother were going to let her child buy some food in the sari-sari store. Then the response of her child will say that, Mom, I'm tired. I don't want to go to Sari Sari store because I am very, 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 very tired, Mom. So that was the response of her child. Then a mom will gonna say, Nak, if you're going to obey my order, the change will be yours. So a child will gonna say, yes, Mom, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, Mom, because I really, really love going to Sari Sari store, Mom. So it was example for tangible reinforces. It is actual reward like money. Negative reinforcement. It is a reward behavior by removing an unpleasant stimulus rather than adding an unpleasant one. Example is young children condition their parents through negative reinforcement like screaming tantrums and other acting out. Behaviors are generally intended to draw a parent's attention. When the parents behave as the child wants, the unpleasant condition like the screaming and crying stop. When is negative reinforcement most effective? It is most effective when reinforcers are presented immediately following a behavior. Example for this is if you do not complete your homework, your teacher will let you pay 5 pesos, while if you complete your homework, you will avoid paying 5 pesos. Thus, through with this, it's strengthening the student's behavior to complete or to comply his or her activities.
Punishment. Punishment is something done after a given deliberate action that lowers the chance of that action taking place in the future. A kind of stimulus that aims to decrease the strength in behavior due to its consequences. Example for punishment is punishments are commonly used in lab experiment. Most often, a lab animal is punished for a given behavior with a mild electric shock. Kinds of punishment. There are two kinds of punishment. And the first one is the positive punishment. Positive punishment involves representing an unfavorable outcome or event following an undesirable behavior or punishment by application. An example for that is humoring favorite dress in class, but reprimanded by the instructor for violating the school class code. Next is the negative punishment, the second. So negative punishment, it involves taking something good or desirable way to reduce the occurrence of particular behavior or punishment by removal. So the example for that is after getting low grades in his subject due to spending too much time in texting instead of studying, her mother took away his cell phone. So negative punishment is more effective if it immediately follows a response. Then it is applied consistently. Extension. The loss of conditioning over time when the conditioning stimuli are no longer present. Example for that is an employee is punished one for missing work, then never again may become more likely to miss work later on because they no longer expect to be punished for absence. Reference, the end.